Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Rebirth, a D&D tale, episode 18. Last we left off, the Lucky Sevens had been doing some investigating around the city, both at the Bard College and at some of the local graveyards, as to the recent necromancy incursion that seemed to have happened recently, where skeletons and corpses of all kinds were climbing out of their graves to harass the living, where ghosts and other apparitions were beset upon those who resided within the slums near Bell's bar. Bell being the mother of Strings, their sort of new guide to the city of Combe. And upon finding out more, the traces of magic that they found, the different people that they've interviewed, the different things that have been going on in the recent in the recent years, as this happens rather frequently enough, and with the the thought of a cult kind of being the forefront of this sort of thing, where perhaps a cult to some of the old gods, destroyer gods, may be at fault here, and doing some investigations into the mythos, into the fact, into the different things going on that could be linked to this. They came to the conclusion that the best way to find this cult is to root them out. And what better way than to follow the source? And so, the party has gathered up together with at one of the uh, local graveyards in the slums that had fallen victim to this on the other side of the city. And upon going there, Lagon set himself to doing what he could to bless the land or the corpses themselves for reburial or for cremation or immolation, as many in the city don't have proper tombs or proper graves left for them, especially if they died poor. And thus their bodies are the ones that fall victim to these kinds of things when they do happen, as they've come to find out. And after doing some of his own investigation, the lovely purple tiefling known as Darius Bliss rejoins the Lucky Sevens after doing a little bit of things that he wanted to get up to, as well as investigating some of this himself, because he's a little bit quieter than some of his companions and perhaps could find out more. So when you all come to this graveyard, you do find that Darius has also arrived here in order to rejoin you. And so, what do you do?
In a minute, guys. I've been able to go out on my own, and what have you guys found out? Just to see, kind of where, if there's anything I can, of what I found out, maybe add to that.
Rune is busy studying the book that um, Kinwin had received from the professor.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, if he had a nose, he'd be nose deep in it.
It is a fascinating book.
Going into it, when he finally notices Darius, he just going forward. We had intentions to investigate many of the graveyards. What have you been up to during these past few nights?
I wanted to do some looking around on my own. I actually was able to. I I followed someone that was um, seemingly looking into the same things that we are. I found out his name is Redmark Serix. Um, he is one of the military advisors to Lord Kaiji. Um, I let him know what we were doing, looking into this as well, and he continue. I mean, he wanted us to continue to look. Um, he's been looking elsewhere, um, a different side of town than where we've been looking. He, in somewhat sharing some of the information he had, says he told me that he suspects that this is the cult of death, uh, that is making these things come back. Um, he also pointed out that several of the undead that were taken care of, that were set for reburial, um, their heads have been taken.
Their heads.
Yes. I
This
asked.
is
Go ahead.
what we currently did understand is that this was, in fact, a cult of death. If necromancy did not belie that before, further investigations on the nature of what such religions could be involved in it certainly
I
provided that context.
I
But
I asked him if he had any idea there was any religious sect, or some anyone that practiced, or the taking of the heads, if that was common to anything in this area. And he said it's not, but he said it points really strongly towards a cult of Ouijas.
Ouijas.
Yes.
Rune looks to Lagan. What is it that you can tell us of Ouijas?
What can I tell everyone of Ouijas that I haven't already?
You know that she, or at least was, considered a prominent god of death especially in the Mesotopia region, as what they worshipped her primarily, without any regards to other gods for eons. That she was prevalent in other places around the world, but ever since ever since the event at the crater 100 years ago or so, her followers, regardless of how powerful a cleric they were, much like yourself, lost their powers unexplicably, just out of nowhere, and thus she's fallen out of favor. She's still worshipped, but whether or not she has any actual power anymore is in question.
Beyond that, because I would have shared that with everyone, the only other
Mm-hmm.
connection I see is potentially those ruins that we found fighting the sand dog.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And other than the flames around the head, it appears to be
Very similar iconography.
very
Yep.
similar to Ouija's. Beyond that, I don't know much of anything. Don't really know why they would be taking the heads unless they're wanting to speak to the dead. I don't know of any ceremonies or rituals that require solely the heads.
I see. Then I believe that gives us our next clue. Going into the next graveyards, we should be investigating corpses or graves, tombs that have lost or have been disembodied themselves.
The digging of graves would be very noticeable. We should potentially be looking at mausoleums and tombs.
Many of these rural areas typically do not have mausoleums, but I agree. Any such cult practices would be difficult to hide.
The grave across from Bell's place is the closest one to where we've been in town. However, there are others, and others that could be more easily hidden in.
This is true.
The poor folks don't tend to have the money necessary for such privacy.
Then we should begin our next investigation in another graveyard as we can. See what we can discover. And also make sure that we continue to sanctify the grounds as we go through them.
I am very limited on what I can do there. At best, it's a body or two. I do not have the station yet in which to hallow the grounds. That is a bit beyond my means.
It's still better than what any of us can do.
Of the bodies we do happen to find,
Yes.
your time and efforts are warranted. And of the graves that we encounter. That said, do you, Darius, do you have a means of contacting this red-marked Serax?
Did he happen to give me a way to contact him?
Yeah, it's kind of a roundabout way, but you let one of his contacts know that you're wanting to speak with him, as he wants it to be as off the books as he has been.
Yeah.
And kind of gauging your profession based on your appearance and skills. He gets the sneaking suspicion that he is familiar with Thieves' Cant.
Okay. I mean, yes, I can get a hold of him if need be.
Excellent. I do have some more questions for him. So given the opportunity, we should speak with him.
I will see what I can get set up.
Excellent. From what time is it, Coffee? In game?
It's probably about getting to dusk, about 5 in the afternoon.
Shall we begin our activities then?
Good.
Okay, so what graveyard are we going to go and investigate first?
Well, you are currently at one, so
We are?
yeah, you are currently at one.
I was under the impression we were at like a bar or something.
I
No,
assumed we were at the graveyard closest to Bell's.
Okay,
Place.
we're there. Have we already gone through that graveyard and like...
that through you've already kind of scoured and gone through, and anyone who was going to be reburied has been, or the bodies have been taken to crematoriums to be cremated. Um,
Mm.
the one crematorium that probably services all of the slums in this area.
That's actually a good point. We should go and check out that place too at some point. But
Yes, we should.
okay.
But yeah, there's plenty of graveyards to go and inspect. You'll find a lot of the same that you have when it comes to like residual magic. When it comes to sort of evidence that the corpses have lifted themselves out of the graves. Whoever wants to can do an investigation check to look for other clues.
I can go ahead and roll it. My investigation is pretty decent.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could assist with that.
Hey. Okay. Yep. 20 total.
20 total. At one of them, you do find that there is a scrap of cloth that got caught in one of the bramble bushes. As these things are definitely very prickly and kind of, when they're dead, kind of get tossed in the wind. They're kind of the plants that create tumbleweeds. And so a piece of cloth got stuck in the brambles, and it is of a sort of... the only distinguishing marking on it, aside from the fact that it's kind of a brown sort of cotton cloth, is that there is a sort of black marking on it. But that it's kind of hard to tell because it is a very small piece. But you did find evidence of a person here, and it is not burial shrouds or decayed clothing that would have been buried with a person. This is fairly... evidence indicates that it came off of somebody who is alive.
Gotcha. And going into like those briars and bushes and whatnot, is it like going into the wilderness in some way, or like
it's like
less traveled part of the city, or is it like...
it's more of a bush on the side of the street. So the street kind of leading into the graveyard, that's where you found it.
Hold up the piece of cloth and utilization of props. He will hold up the cloth and inspect it. He's looking at the symbol, and what does it like the dark mark seem to look like? Does it look like a symbol? Is it...
It kind of looks like the rounded
language
edge of something, and you're not entirely sure what.
Rune looks over to Zephyr. Vaughn. Is Zephyr a good tracker?
Should be.
And he goes down to the dog. He holds up the piece of cloth to him and pets Zephyr. Can you find it?
He gives it a good sniff, kind of like burying his nose into that little piece of cloth in your hand, kind of getting a really good sniff of it. You hear him sniffing it a couple of different times. kind of goes about to sniff the air a little bit.
Get it, boy.
He kind of walks forward a little hesitantly, like he's not quite caught the scent yet. He kind of paces a little bit, kind of gives you guys a wide berth to kind of see if he can get a good direction. Seems to be a little bit confused. Vanya, as a tracker yourself, you know that scents are definitely not something that is easily masked, so there could have been a magical means by which they masked their scent. As someone who has the ability to do that now.
Yeah. Vanya's gonna keep a close eye on him for a little bit, just kind of watching him to see if he does manage to pick it up a little bit further away from us before stating that they could have masked their scent just as easily as she could when she did that in the library for Kinlan.
Careful steps this group seems to take.
Very careful.
Holding the cloth piece. I do I have detect magic on this? Is it possible to track something using detect magic?
Detect magic is a concentration spell, and anything that is magical kind of pings on your sort of radar within a radius. So, within 30 feet of you, you would be able to detect anything of a magical description, which would be anything magical that you all have in your persons, of course. But anything out of the ordinary magical would ping up if you got within that radius.
I don't have detect magic prepared. Does anyone else?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
Nope, it's not
Nope.
one of my things.
Dang. Okay. Well, I'm at a loss of what to do next, really. Rune is going to look in the direction, though, from where seemingly the cloth is associated.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to see if generally he can find. And he's gonna voice this to the rest of the party. We don't have any clear certainty where perpetrator could have gone, but if we used the cloth as a reference, this little dreg, who was here last? Whoever was here last and left this would have gone that direction, or it might have come from the cemetery itself.
Based on what you're looking at, where you pulled it from, this was someone moving away from the cemetery in a direction. Now, where they went after the bramble bush is left up to question, but
well, Rune is okay. Rune's gonna vocalize that. I think from here, we should try and see if we can help Zephyr pick up on a trail into the city. Whatever sort of scent masking they might have. If there's a way that we can track this. This goes to something. I'm inclined to find out what.
Alright. I agree.
alright. And in the meantime, is Darius going to be getting in contact with his contacts to reach... Okay,
Yeah.
to reach Redmark. Okay. So, in traveling up the roads through the city. Zephyr occasionally seems to pick up on something, but it then loses it again. And let's see. I'm gonna roll for Zephyr. Oh, that's a decent roll. Zephyr's a good boy, but he
Come on,
doesn't.
puppy.
He doesn't. He doesn't seem discouraged. He just seems. He's keeping his. And anytime that he needs like a refresh, he goes back up to you, Rune, to sniff at the thing again. Seems to catch on something, but he seems to continually be pressing forward in the street. You're not sure if he's catching the scent or if this is some kind of intuition that he might be following, because he's particularly smart for a dog. But he does kind of lead you up the road, and it does start to get dark. And Darius, you hear back from contacts that Mr. Sarex would be available to meet you all tonight, as he is eager to find out more about the people who are investigating this, and is genuinely interested in having more hands on deck when it comes to this sort of thing. And so he does say that he will meet you where you want to meet.
I mean, honestly, if he's willing to come to that part of town, I would think the easiest for us is going to be Bell's bar.
Okay. Go to Bell's. Okay.
Yeah.
Then he does through his contacts indicate that he will meet you there.
Okay.
Probably into the dead of night.
Okay. Yeah, I will meet back up with the party and relay that to them.
All right. But through, even though Zephyr is very much able to pick up on scents normally, this is for some reason just baffling him. Like he'll think he's on a trail for something, but then it's gone again, and kind of a little bit of back and forth between the roads, through the alleyways. It's what he finds normally is trash or litter or things of that sort that he's drawn to, but there's no further clothing scraps or anything that he really feels drawn to in a running sort of fashion, like he's caught something. So he's just kind of pacing, kind of sniffing around everything.
Being the untrusting character that Lagan is, he's constantly on the lookout for anybody paying them any more mind or attention than they should be.
Make a perception check.
Okay. 18 plus 7, 25.
You are definitely aware when people when you catch their eyes. It's almost as if, and the people that you see, they look like residents of the slums. Right. You obviously catch their eyes because everything that you all are wearing is much more extravagant than anything that they are.
Right.
So you do catch the odd-looking eye, who, after kind of gawking for a moment, doesn't seem to pay you any further mind. You occasionally do have a couple of guards that kind of follow you as you're kind of traveling through the streets, but unless you're doing something that's obviously something that they should be worried about, they don't bother you at all. You do.
No, just walking a dog.
Just walking a dog. And so they do follow you with their eyes, occasionally kind of if there's a pair of them, they'll talk to each other, kind of hushed. But otherwise, nobody seems to be. Nobody's eyes seem to be lingering on you for long periods of time. You do notice that that in this sort of slum shanty town, that there are a lot of really good vantage points that you might not be able to see someone from, but they'd be able to see you. So you are aware of some of those going on in this place. But as far as you can tell, everyone who seems to lay their eyes on you doesn't seem to follow you.
Coffee?
Mm-hmm.
I'm at a loss.
Okay.
There's too much subtlety. I need a hint.
Well, that's why you're going to be visiting Redmark.
I guess so.
I'm sorry it's subtle.
I'm just trying, like... Okay.
I'm sorry.
Without anything really seems to be catching on. I'm not really... Ruin isn't really sure where to go forward on that. Does anyone else have any clues, any ideas?
We need more information. So,
I mean, we could go check out the mortuary.
That's an option.
We could.
The crematorium,
Yep.
whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I would say that let's wait for that. Darius has contacts, says that they are going to meet us. Perhaps they have more information. And then we go check out the mortuary and the crematorium.
I'm good with that.
Darius, this is your contact. I am hoping you will lead conversation.
Yeah.
It's appreciated.
All right. So you wait into the dark of night, and after the bar is closed, there is a very heavy knock on the door.
Is there like a window we can peer out of just to see?
It is a hooded figure, kind of dressed in dark clothing at the moment.
Same stature as like build of the person I'd seen before?
Yep.
Okay. I believe this is our guy. I go and open the door.
And in walks a fairly tall figure, someone who seems to be, well built, maybe wearing armor under this cloak. And when they pull down their hood, you all see that it is a red scale dragonborn. These are your companions, Mr. Bliss?
Correct.
Lucky sevens. There's 5 of you.
Do
Exactly.
not mind it.
A
And
dog.
then soft bark from Zephyr.
Exactly.
Strange. Strange
Yes.
indeed.
We are.
Oh, it's a pleasure to meet you all. And he kind of closes the door behind all of you. I am Redmark Sarix. And you are...
I go through and just kind of introduce each person. This is Rune. This is Kenwyn. This is...
Greet him, Draconic. It's a pleasure to meet you.
And he replies back in Draconic. How interesting. It's unusual to find an elf who knows the Draconic tongue.
Well, it would be interesting to learn. So I did.
Strange man you are.
That's
And-
actually a bit of a question. Is modern Draconic the same as the Draconic rune knows?
It's similar, almost like a different dialect. You have to really focus to be able to understand the modern Draconic, but it is similar enough in speech that you're following the conversation.
Okay.
It's the written runes that are a little bit more complex.
Yeah, I wasn't able to read that book, but you were.
Yeah. The written language is more complex. The spoken language is still pretty similar, so you are able to follow it.
All right.
This is Vanya and Zephyr.
Pleasure to meet you all. And you understand why I must come to you under the cover of night.
Of course.
I am Lagan, sir.
Pleasure to meet you. And so, well, I don't suppose they're serving drinks still.
Do you want a drink?
This might take drinks, as I've come a long way, and, well, I'm parched. The desert air will do that.
Is Belle still around?
She's still around. She's cleaning up.
I'll go and ask Belle to bring a round of drinks for the table.
Alright. And she goes and does so. And he sits down in one of the benches, and you can definitely clearly see that he is wearing armor as underneath his cloak, as from what you could gather is probably a means of protection for himself.
Right.
There is a hammer on his hip, and that's what you can clearly see. And so he then looks to you all and says, "So I'll cut to the chase. You all have been investigating what's been going on in the graveyards, and you're new to this city, where I have been investigating what's been going on in the graveyards since they started. And, well, I could tell you right now that I've investigated every church in this goddamn city, and most of them are perfectly clear, if not a little weird. So we are indeed dealing with something in the shadows. And from what I've gathered so far, they seem to be associated with Ouijas."
All of these matters we've also uncovered on our own terms, came to similar conclusions of. However, we were informed that you have differing information that we have not discovered.
Yes.
Decapitation of many of the specimens.
Yes. And
Do you believe this? Go ahead.
No, you had a question.
Do you believe this a practice of the religious sect and belief system, or do you believe this is a practice of the magic at hand?
As someone who comes from Kandor, I can tell you that the practice of Ouijas is to remove the heads from the bodies of the deceased for safekeeping in their ossuaries, and thus be able to speak with them later and learn of the events of the past. Thus, we not be prone to committing such acts again in the future. But in all of that time, I've never seen a priest go back and ask another individual another question after death. I used to be a practicing member of the Ouija's faith.
Used to be.
Used to be. That was a long time ago. And you can see that he does seem like he's a bit aged.
Did she ever have any temples here or around here?
A while back, yes. Probably most that were in existence closed up shop or turned to something else about 50 years ago. Over that period of time, they periodically would close up.
Do we still have the rubbings from that one?
From the
The one where we fought the bullet?
yes, from the pillar that was there. Yes, you do.
Yeah. Lagan wants to show him the rubbing made of what her image looked like. Did any of her temples have this iconography?
And it's of the skull with no flames.
Yes, it's the skull that everything about the skull looks like it's Ouija, except that there are no flames.
No, that is unusual. That is not a Ouija skull.
What skull would this be?
Where did you find this?
It's about a day or two from here. Give him the directions and exactly where we found this. Fighting creatures of the desert, making trouble very difficult.
No, a one-eyed Ouija skull always has flames. Every depiction has flames. To see it without it, that is something entirely different. Something corrupt. Older, possibly. I am not a master of theology, but I definitely think that this is something else.
At one of the graveyards, we also came across another piece. It could be something, or it could be nothing. But there seems to be some sort of part of a symbol associated on this cloth. And Rune shows the cloth. We attempted to track it, but it seems like any sort of sense or such were masked.
Means that they must have expert trackers amongst their number. Which is very useful when wanting to go undercover, as something that is forbidden as necromancy is in this city. Undercover is probably their only MO. And so, if you have trackers, if you have religious people, if you have people who are dedicated to a cause but not out in the open about it, there have been suspicions of cults in this city to the Destroyer Gods. I suspect that this is maybe some kind of remnant of some religious garb.
What do you know of Dredith and the Whispered One?
Dredith and the Whispered One. Well, I can't say that I've ever heard of a Whispered One, but except in legends. That he fell at the hands of Ouijas. Destroyed. That she was a beacon of warriors and faith alike.
Her powers are greatly diminished.
Almost negligible at this point.
I have another question.
Mhm.
When the party discovered the ruins, were they like open ruins, or were they above ground, below ground? Did they have a dungeon?
No, it was more along the lines of a single sort of pillar with scrollings on it, with some symbols on it that looked like it had been windblown and unearthed, as if the wind had carried the sand away and unearthed it.
Hmm. Okay.
We did not investigate that one any further, other than taking the rubbings.
I think our plan was at that point to kind of get the rest of the party together and go back out to investigate it.
Well, and potentially, if we had to fight a bigger one of those things, we need the rest of the party.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what they came across. But no one has heard or seen of any whispered ones since those days, and that was thousands of years ago, from my understanding. His powers
What
are
other?
also greatly diminished,
Very well.
if he was indeed a god.
You've presented the evidence and information that we've discovered thus far. What other additional information have you uncovered?
Over the years, I have run across different people that I've taken into interview, and such minor members of the cult didn't have much to say except that they were dedicated to their cause about as faithfully as one would be to the gods. And thus I have every reason to believe that whatever cause they're going for, it is imperative that we get to the bottom of this now. With the ruins that are being unearthed in the desert, and what you've uncovered here regarding the Whispered One, if there is indeed a cult of the Whispered One forming in this city, then it need be quashed.
Is agreed. In your investigations, have you noticed a specific patterns between the graveyards, so that we could predict and maybe perhaps even stake one?
Well, the occurrences have been years apart, so if you're willing to wait years, but
Not really.
not really. Neither am I.
Father Masterson has implied that they are becoming more frequent, less time between events.
But even then, how much time until the next one?
I have my suspicions, but I don't have any proof.
What are these suspicions, sir?
Well, I imagine that other suspicions would be linking myself to these things, as I am possibly one of the people going out in the middle of the night, attempting to rally people to my cause.
The thought has crossed.
However, I have tracked other individuals of my station, and on the occasion, I have seen several figures leaving their compounds to go and mingle with others who are of a lower station than themselves.
Is there any particular price to their comings and goings, or is it all at random?
It's all at random, and I can't confirm any specific individuals. And even if I were to confirm that, I'd be remiss, as many of those in my station are keys to power in this city. And thus, should anything happen to them, well, an instability, a great instability in this city would occur. And I don't think that is good for the citizenry.
seems to me the people that are behind this are looking for such instabilities. Or to create them.
Perhaps. But I do know that Lord Kaiji has also been doing his own investigations into the occult, collecting artifacts, making sure that the desert excavation goes swimmingly and according to plan. That much I do know, because he is sending my people out there. And the injury reports that I get from my men are extravagant, to say the least.
Well, if you cannot give us names, can you give us at least somewhere to point us on our way for our investigation, sir?
I will get in touch with those whom I suspect, but one place that's been a base several times, and maybe again, was a underground bar in the middle section of the city. A sort of dive that doesn't really have much in the way of its own patronage, and when it does, they all collect and lock the doors behind them. Private bunch.
Private bar.
And I've never known a bar to be private. Except after hours.
Where in the middle city is the bar?
It's near the marketplace. Marketplace isn't hard to find.
No.
But be wary. If these cultists are gathering at this place, they might be well armed. Especially if they have trackers and, well, men of faith among them. Faith warriors are very dangerous.
I mean, with all this necromancy going around, it seems like they've got plenty of arms to spare.
Rune just...
I find your joke very crude.
Rude person, what can I say?
But Vanya's just trying to, cover up a laugh.
The crudest of individuals. Should we ever meet in public, I expect a little bit better etiquette.
We make no promises, but we can try.
Then you will never meet in public.
We'll see about that.
Know how to mind our manners.
I am willing to fund your exploits. Whatever monetary backing you need for this, it is at your disposal. I can't be the most public of face, or the most involved, as I have other duties that I must attend to, as well as, well, must maintain a civil face.
It is understood. Then going forward, we will discover at least culprits or further evidence and correspond with you when appropriate.
Understood.
I believe it would be just if payment were received based on evidence provided.
Yes. And so he pulls out a sack and kind of puts it on the table, and you can hear it is the jingling of coins.
We will find a means to contact you again very soon. For now, what information you have given us is valuable. We will work off of that.
Please find these bastards. I want them brought to justice.
We intend to.
To disturb those who live in this city and cause fear and terror and distraught, make the loved ones of these people who have fallen victim to this necromancy, the distress that this causes. I won't allow it to happen to my people anymore. The politics are on a thin edge. And I hope that the whispers about Lord Kaiji are wrong.
Whispers. What whispers?
I'm sure you've heard of it. I'm sure you've heard it by now that most of the citizenry consider him a tyrant.
Bits and pieces here and there. A lot of people try to keep it hushed up.
They fear him.
Yes.
As they should.
What is your position on your leadership, if you don't mind it?
Lord Kaiji and I have been longtime friends. But this is new.
He's not always been the type to
Stranglehold. No, something has agitated him in the recent years and he won't tell me. Why I'm trusting you with this, I have no idea. You seem like a good bunch.
My question is this: if this should all somehow tie back to Lord Kaiji, where would your stance be? What would your stance be?
That is a very good question. He gets up from his seat. For now, I only hope he's not involved. Otherwise, he would have my head.
We can't have that now as the new benefactor. Try not to lose that.
I am a skilled warrior, but I am growing in age. I cannot make promises that way anymore.
I said try.
Well, I wouldn't go down without a fight. I think I wouldn't even make it into the warrior's paradise of the great Bahamut if I didn't at least stand up for myself.
Well, I wouldn't know of such places.
Well, it's a dragonborn thing. Being dragonkin, it's always something that we're striving for. Much as I imagine that a giant kin is always striving to be the best of his people.
Every day, sir. Every day.
Ah, I must get going, otherwise I might be found. But should you need anything, you know how to contact me, Mr. Bliss.
Stay safe, Mr. Syrinx.
Well,
And stay safe yourselves.
As well as we can be.
No one else has grabbed the bag. I'm grabbing the bag of coins to start counting.
That is only an upfront payment. Should you actually bring some individuals to justice, well, consider that bag doubled.
Noted.
And so he lifts up the hood of his dark cloak, goes back out of the bar, meets up with his two bodyguards who had been standing at the door, and they all walk off into the night together.
Going forward, we now have that bar of ill repute to investigate. But if it's all the same, I would also like to go and investigate that other ruin that has been uncovered by the sand.
Which do you want to do first?
Let's stake the bar. We're in town now.
And it is the middle of the
Fair
night.
enough.
It's all you, Darius. Actually, Vanya, too, you have Pass Without Trace. Hell yeah.
Yes, yes.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
We also can send in a mouseified Kinwin.
Mm-hmm.
As long as there's no, griffins to attack again.
Well,
You'll have me this time.
so y'all are heading off to the bar in the middle of the
Yep.
city.
This time of night?
You can.
Yeah.
It's the middle of the night.
Let's do it.
Alright.
I mean, he seemed to mention that would probably be when people will be there, which is kind of what we're hoping for, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
He implied they would be there at all hours, but if they're there, that the doors are locked. How do you propose on getting in?
I pull out my thieves' tools.
That's a great way to get welcomed anywhere.
We are where we are. And mice can get in an location. Isn't that right, Kinwin?
usually that's
Unless you're spotted by the professor.
That mouse looks a little fish.
But also, since we didn't rest, I have used up my wild shapes.
Oh, I thought we did rest.
No, this was the same
No.
day as before.
Whoops.
Yes.
Should we take a rest first and just take to it the next day?
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
We can do that. I will also say that it's like a day and a half or so from the city where the ruins were.
Mm.
Yeah.
So if you want to investigate those, that's going to be
a journey
Oh, yeah,
anyway.
it's-
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, that's why Rune is like, yeah, no, let's just
That can wait. Yeah.
Our
Kind of a
first.
thing.
bar first. We're in the city now.
Always
Yep.
alcohol. Always alcohol first. Bar. Let's go. After we sleep.
Sleep is good.
Sleep is-
Also, though, if we're gonna sleep, this is another way that I can try and get into where we need to go, and I snap my fingers and disappear.
Oh.
Interesting trick.
I go whisper in Lagon's ear.
if you can reach that high.
I climb up where if he's by the bar, I like climb on the bar. Accidentally knock a cup of, one of our drinks over.
Also, the amount of gold that you found in the bag was 1,000.
Oh,
Oh.
Okay.
Whoo. Okay.
I DM'd you something, Coffee.
Or you did?
That's how much we need to put strings into Harvard for a year.
how are we splitting that up then? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5?
Yeah, there's 5 of us. We could just toss it into the party fund, though.
Yeah,
For now, just put it in the party fund.
yeah, we'll figure it out when we figure it
Yep.
out.
Yep. Now it's in party fund.
All right. 1,000 gold in party funds. All right.
Cool.
So new
So
day.
long rest. Move on.
New
Alright.
day. Prepare your spells.
Prepared. I'm not changing them.
No detect
I
magic.
don't have to.
No detect magic now. Not now.
I do need to go through my spells.
Yep. Do your spells. Do what it is that you need to do to ready yourself for the morning.
Theoretically, if we were to split that out, it would be basically 200 to each person, even though it's in the party funds, right? Mathing that right.
Roughly.
5,000 divided by 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The daggers that I was having to work on, just because I've missed some, didn't know if any more progress on that had been made, and if what monetarily still needed to be added to that.
Monetarily, it had been left where you had left it before.
Okay.
Because no additional funds had been added to it. So progress has been slow.
If it's like what we were looking for Kinwin, we're waiting on the monetary cost of whatever magic you were going to need for that.
Don't off the top of my head remember the number we settled on, but
We can go back and look at the VODs. I don't remember off the top of my head either. I would have to go back and look and see if I had notes.
I think it was like Kenwin's. It was 1,000 gold was what we were looking at.
Oh, to create the belt for daggers?
yeah.
Because that was going to
Yeah.
be like a belt of returning, like from...
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe the monetary cost for that was close to like 1,000 gold for that.
Okay.
Is where we were at. And again, it's the monetary cost of...
The components, yeah.
Yeah.
And time taken, of course.
Right.
But yeah.
All right, just wanted to check in on that and see if anything had.
Cool beans.
Um, while we are taking this long rest,
Mm-hmm.
Rune wants to investigate the book
Okay.
that we received from the professor. Just really go into that a bit more and see what kind of information is in there.
Definitely strikes a lot of memories in you. You remember meeting a dragon that was platinum colored. In fact, you remember parenting a dragon who was platinum colored. You remember the birth of this dragon. You were there. And this book almost seems to be written in a perspective of this was the Draconic War. Because the Platinum Dragon remembers being a warrior in this fight. And was hesitant to join with their kin in summoning the calamity from the sky. That such an entity could it defeat their enemy, the daughter of Moiran. If it could defeat her, being as powerful as she was, it was asking too much. But the pact was made. The day came. Others ran. Others were stalwart. And it crashed into the center of the Draconic city, taking every one of the Platinum Dragon's kin with him.
The daughter of Moiran.
Little Jasmine. Wee Jas.
Regis. How is this all fitting together? Everything seems to be interconnected. And somehow I'm finding I think I know to be a part of it. And Rune closed the book at that point, remembering the page that he was on.
You have no doubt that some people who worship the Platinum Dragon might consider this some kind of sacred text.
Rune noting that, decides he's definitely not going to share that with Syrinx, and he puts the book inside himself again.
But it does stir up memories. Brief ones. Brief little snippets of the platinum-colored drake. The first time he learns to take on a different form. while young, very wise. Looking up to you as a mentor.
Doesn't seem probable. Rune just looks at the gears, the circuitry, the metallic pieces that compose himself. Don't even know if these memories are mine. So why? They're there. And he's going to kind of stew on that for the rest of the night as he goes into sentry mode. And into the next day we go.
All right. You wake. You do your morning little rituals of every kind that you do. Spells prepared if you do. Breakfast made for those who want to do so. Having spent the night at Belle's place once more in the cramped little room, Strings is there to help in serving you all breakfast.
As we were all getting up and getting ready for the day, Lagan would have cast aid on Vanya, Darius, and Kinwin.
Okay.
That is 5 to your current and hit point maximum for 8 hours.
All right. That will last all through the day. It will not last long enough to last into the night coming up.
No.
If you're planning on just ransacking this place at night.
Okay.
I'll have to recast it if that's the case.
But what is the plan? Is that the plan for the day, is to kind of hang out until nightfall to go to this place, or are you going to the middle of the day? What's the plan?
What is everyone's preference? Lagan, I remember last night you mentioned you were interested in investigating during the daytime. Is that still the case?
We can at least see who comes and goes, perhaps even gain entrance.
I will have to be right. Actually, give me 1 second. There's somebody at the door. Be right back, everybody. Welcome back, everyone, to Rebirth, a D&D Tale, episode 18. We were leaving off where the party was discussing their plan as to how it is that they were going to go about scoping out this bar that they've been informed of, as well as what the plan would be going forward in that regard. So, they have since decided that they would scope the place out during the day with half the team, and the other half would be buying supplies, which they've been able to successfully purchase. The other team scoping out the place, that they would find that during the day and during the evening hours, it's your average tavern with drinks, with food, with rooms. There's multiple stories. All of the sort of storage in the basement. All of the goings on for drinking in the ground floor, and the bedrooms for sleeping in the top floor. And without much of an issue, it looks pretty ordinary from the outside. But they have suspicions that at night there might be other things going on. So the plan is to sneak in and see if there's any kind of clue or evidence that something nefarious is going on here. Now, are you doing some of that sneaking in during the day?
Want to specifically look for weaknesses, entrance, ways that we come back tonight that we might be able to gain entry other than the front door.
Okay. Other than the front door, you do see that there is sort of a basement hatch that is locked, but that is another potential entry point. There are windows in the bedrooms above at the upstairs, so those are potential entry points. If you're looking for anything hidden, though, do me a investigation check, because those are the obvious ones.
Investigation is going to be a 17.
Oh, okay. To kind of answer your questions there, Spectre, when I say the cellar hatch, that is an outdoor cellar hatch. So it opens up to the outside. It is locked from the outside, and potentially maybe even locked from the inside. Who knows? But you said that it was what was your investigation check?
17.
17. As far as things that you see that might be more of a hidden, sort of out of the way, you in kind of mingling at the bar. So if you want to buy drinks to make yourself blend in a little bit, it's going to be a gold. But what you spot is that there is an access point in the back, from what you can see, behind the bar to the basement area. There's a kind of a trap door with stairs that leads down into that. And you see that people come in the back room, kind of go up and down the stairs to pull things from storage from time to time, and so you do see that. How long do you stay?
How long do we want to stay?
To you?
I mean, I would say long enough to also looking, but finish a couple of drinks, not enough to get, shit-faced, but also, we came to a bar for a reason, let's drink.
Right. So a couple of hours at least.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were able to do that, and that is what you find in that couple of hours. In that couple of hours, you also see that the bartender's fairly friendly with some of the patrons. You get the idea that maybe they're regulars. She's very friendly to you, of course, because you're a new paying customer. And so it's generally a very friendly atmosphere in the whole place. So that's what you're kind of getting from your investigation check right now.
You said it's also like an inn. They've got
Yes.
rooms for.
Yes, they do have rooms. They kind of look like they're small, but yeah, they do have them available.
I look at the group. Wouldn't that make it a little easier? We'll just spend the night here.
What?
I asked the barkeep how much the room, like 2 rooms, would cost for the night.
2 rooms for the night would be 1 gold.
Okay. Let's go ahead and I would like to reserve 2 rooms, and I slide him 2 gold as a tip.
Ah, all right. So there you are. You now have 2 rooms. He gives you the keys to them.
Okay. We can go meet up with our compatriots and.
Mm-hmm. He does say the final moment for coming in to sleep is around. He kind of gives you a point in the middle of the night, when the actual bar itself closes. So you do, if you're going to stay in the room, you do have to be here by that time.
I've not heard of places, locking up as much. I have been known to sleepwalk before. Is that going to be an issue if I'm out and about of my room after that time?
You might get locked out
Okay.
till the morning.
We'll be sure to keep him tied down then.
You might not have to be that extreme.
First time, we head out the door.
All right. And then you meet up with your compatriots who have stocked up on some goods from the marketplace.
So, I think to make things a little easier, it's an inn. Why I rented 2 rooms for the night. Why don't we be there for the night, and then we're already inside? It's just a matter of then sneaking to wherever we need to. We're already inside.
It does make more sense. You don't have to break in if you're already in.
You're whispering kind of quiet.
I said that makes much more sense. We don't have to break in if we're already in.
Convenient indeed. Well done. Let's make ourselves comfy, then.
They did mention we had to be in by X time to not be locked out. So we can head there now. We can just chill in the room, or if there's any other preparations. Were you able to get?
Yes.
Okay.
Lagan would hand you 4 bags of ball bearings.
Okay.
And 2 of the smoke grenades.
Is Lagan keeping 2 of the smoke grenades for himself?
Yes. And 1 of the bags of ball bearings.
Right. Okay.
I'll give you 1 of the smoke grenades if you want it.
No. There is no need for me. I don't know. I guess the only really the only thing that I would have left is just preparing some other stuff. I'm going to enhance. I'm going to utilize my artificer infusions, and I'm thinking what I'm gonna go ahead and do is improve my armor. So enhance defense on one of my armor pieces. Is that something I can do? Like, can I just be like, burn, burn?
If the infusion is called Enhance Armor and it adds AC, then yes.
Cool. All right. Then that's +1 AC, and I guess that's what Rune does for the rest of the night, really. In the comfort of the room of the inn we're staking.
Mm-hmm. All right. Any other preparations that you would like to make?
Anya will just be making sure she's got enough for Pass Without Trace.
All right. For Pass Without Trace, is that just verbal somatic, or does that have components to it?
It's got components. It's... Sorry, dog just...
I heard that.
I don't know. I have no idea what the fuck he was barking at, but okay. It's just ashes from a burned leaf of mistletoe and a sprig of spruce.
Okay, easy enough to find.
Yeah.
Easy enough to have had found.
Yeah. And get prepared.
Yep. Easy enough, because people like trees.
Yes.
It's not hard to find.
People like trees.
Yes. And so you kind of prepare the components. You kind of make the mistletoe and the ash, and kind of cover the bit of spruce in it, and kind of when you're ready to cast it, you kind of wave it up in the air, and it consumes it as part of the spell, and so because you don't have an arcane focus or a spellcasting focus, so you do have your components that you have to carry around with you. But anyone else preparing anything more aside from are we recasting aid?
No.
Nope.
I said if that were the case, aid would not have been cast in the morning. It would have been cast this evening.
Okay, fair enough. I did not hear that.
3 people.
There we go.
Same 3 people. It's 5 plus 5 to your hit points and your max.
All right. And is Kinwin preparing anything, or Darius?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, because you got what you needed for ball bearings and grenades, or smoke grenades. Arcane smoke bombs. They're
Actually, can I have just taken a mental picture of just one of the random patrons that was in the bar for disguise self at some point?
Yep, that's perfectly fine. You spent enough time in there. You definitely learned the visage of a specific person that caught your eye.
Okay. Do the mental picture of the innkeep. There you go. Bar
Yeah.
Anyone who had been at the bar.
Was...
Yeah. Exactly.
With a really deep voice.
Because it doesn't change his voice. It's just in disguise. But, yeah, then if everything is prepared, around what time of day do you try to sneak out and venture forth?
Or whatever time they said they were locking up.
Yeah, so about 3 in the morning, middle of the night, kind of a bar closes when patrons go home, and so they're kind of kind of locking up all of the essentials. Storing coins. You'd notice that they're doing a bit of the closing procedure. Going to be locking up the front door here fairly soon, to lock everything up.
I would say, I mean, could we wait and listen for if we hear, like...
Till they're done?
Well, I mean, till they're done, but also, like, if a group of people comes in, or...
Make me a perception check. Because it isn't an issue of you waiting, it is an issue of whether or not you hear it.
I'd like to assist in that, if I can.
It will be separate roles. Since you did book 2 separate rooms, you might be in separate rooms right now.
Okay.
I will assist whoever's with me.
Well, yeah. First off, how did you want to divvy up the rooms? Like, who's hanging out with who? Is Rune hanging out with Vanya?
Don't read my mind.
God damn it, Coffee.
They probably have Kenwin with them too. Darius and Lagan would probably be
on their own. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little awkward there, Kinwin. You can silently observe them if you'd like.
It's just like
taking notes.
Just watch.
Right.
All right, so with advantage.
Yep, with advantage since Lagan's helping you, and Vanya by herself.
Yep.
Natural 20.
Oh my god.
Nice.
22.
25.
Ooh, both of y'all have to do pretty good. Alright, so... You're doing a lot of listening. You're listening for when the bar goes quiet, because you know the patrons are leaving. You listen for the jingling of coins and keys and things like that, because that's getting all put away and locked up. You listen for others who might be coming towards the space. But what you hear as far as a knock goes for additional patrons potentially comes from outside your window. Outside your window is where the basement hatch is.
Vanya would like to move quietly over to the window and see if she can peer down without having to open it or be noticed.
Okay. Both of y'all make a stealth check. Because you
24.
You might have heard it,
30,
but you
20.
noticed it was very quiet. Very quiet. So how much?
30, 20.
24.
So, you sneak up to your individual windows, kind of, letting the other roommates of yours know that you're making that way towards them, because they see you going that way. You kind of duck into the corner and peer outside. You notice that there are a couple of people in sort of brownish garb that have not knocked on the cellar door beneath this tavern, but knocked on the cellar door next door.
Huh.
Which seems like an abandoned... Well, not really abandoned, but a different place of business.
And Vanya's going to tell them quietly what she has seen.
Because what you heard was a very quiet knocking, not exactly very loud and audible.
Kind of want to wait and see if someone else comes up and knocks any later. Like, give it 5 minutes, if that, just kind of hearing. And if they do, like, seeing if there's a certain pattern to how they knock.
Okay. So if you're while you're watching the first group, there's only a couple people, and you see that the cellar door opens to a dark cellar. They walk in, the door closes behind them, and then a few minutes go by, and you're intending to watch Darius for another group of people. Is anyone doing anything before that?
Vanya, do they have any sort of markings, symbols upon the robing?
Would I have noticed that?
Make me another perception check since you're now.
Yeah.
This is more vision than hearing.
18.
You do see. It's rather dark, so it's a little hard to see. You do have dark vision, so that gives you the black and white. You're kind of familiar with with the look of browns and blacks and things like that. It kind of melds together a little bit in the dark vision. You're not 100% sure, but you might be seeing a couple of markings on the robes. You can't be certain at this moment, though.
Looks like there might be a couple. I can't make them out from here.
Interesting. Going on to Darius's thing.
Yes, Darius, you were waiting for another person to, or a group of people to come by to see if there is a pattern to the knocking. Go ahead and make me another perception check.
21.
The pattern to the knocking seems very similar to the first, and it's definitely something that is, I wouldn't say standard to thieves' cant, but it's very much a telltale sign where it's not just any kind of knocking. There is a little bit of a pattern. There's a little bit of the same volume level. Now that you're listening very, very closely for it, it's very soft, and it is sort of a five hit pattern. They're let in. The hatch closes behind them. It is still dark inside from what you can see. And you don't see the person who's opening the door. Because none of them are using any kind of light source at all.
If you get closer, do you think you'd be able to replicate disguise self?
You don't have a face because they're all robed and they're all kind of cloaked in a little bit of. They're kind of taking advantage of the darkness because it is an alleyway. It's not like you're opened up to the broad street where you can use the light sources. It's all kind of shadowed.
I mean, but theoretically, with the disguise self, would at least give me like the robe with the.
Based on what you can see from your dark vision, you would have kind of a vague idea of what it would look like, but not a solid idea.
Okay.
Because like with Vanya's, it's a little hard to distinguish the browns and blacks and reds and blues and different things in the dark vision because it is kind of a gray scale.
Well, either we look for an opening or.
Question. If using Pass Without Trace, would we be able to perhaps follow the next group down?
With a high enough stealth check that you could squeeze in without making a sound, without alerting them to your presence, because if they see you, they see you.
Yeah.
That Pass Without Trace doesn't stop them from seeing you.
Yeah.
It does kind of mask any kind of sound or footprints or anything like that that you would leave behind, including scents.
So either our sneakies kind of get in between the groups, not necessarily trying to get in as they're going through, but like maybe picking a lock and sneaking in, or
There's an option.
or if we want to get in while the groups are going through, Mouse can win. Mouse can win.
Mm.
Oh,
That's
a
an option
possibility,
too.
Mouse Kinwin and Invisible Darius.
There are
Oh, there we
definitely
go.
a number of
Right.
options to you.
Oh,
So if you don't want to go all in at once, you can do individually, because in the case of Pass Without a Trace, so long as everyone's within the area in the burst, then everyone gets the advantage for it.
Mm.
And then you can go in one at a time if you want it, or you can go in all at once. Your choice.
How high up are our rooms?
You're on the second story, so it's not you're within your dark vision range, but beyond that, you're kind of at a loss for sight.
Lagan is going to, as quietly as possible, just pick up a bed and move it near the window to use it as an anchor point to tie one of the ropes.
Okay.
So that we don't ever have to go out and worry about the locked doors.
I mean, that's an idea.
That is.
Sneaky cleric.
The cleric is going to, as quietly as possible, pick up one of the beds, move it to the window, near the window, to use as an anchor point. I'm repeating for specs.
Okay. Well, we have no particular way to necessarily communicate, so Rune is going to go based on what Vanya and Kinwin want to do. Whatever their plans are, he's going to follow suit.
Okay. Quickly, Lagan, I would like you to make a stealth check for that moving of the bed.
Yay. Just love rolling with disadvantage. Okay.
2 natural.
Hey, surprisingly not bad. Plus
Hold your
1,
dice.
That's going to be 15.
Oh, okay.
Both were 14s.
Not too bad. All right. Not too bad at all. That's perfectly fine. You are convinced that you have made very little in the way of noise to alert anyone that you have moved the bed.
And then Lagan is going to use the ends of the bed to tie the rope around so that Darius has a way to get in and out, and if possible or necessary, Lagan has a way to get in and out as well.
All right. That is set up. And in the other room, how are you setting that up? How are you setting anything up to get it down there?
I think between the three of them, they would have probably come up with this same idea. Of using
rope out the window?
Point. Yep.
Rope out the window from the bed. Okay.
Yep.
Make a stealth check to move the bed.
Okay, I guess this is on Rune.
You're the strong boy. Or are you not? Is the Vanya the strong one?
How strong is Vanya?
My strength is at 13, so I don't know what.
It's not bad. It's above average.
What's Rune's at?
I can't remember if it was like 15 or 16, something like that.
I think it's 16.
It's 15.
15.
Yep.
All right. Then, stealth check to move the bed. What was it?
First roll was 15. Do I get disadvantage?
Yes, you're at disadvantage because you're metal.
The roll is 7.
It's it does that scraping against the floorboards of the floor for a moment.
Gon and Daria is just staring that in the other room, like, what are they doing in there?
Exactly.
It's just Rune and Vanya, don't worry.
Oh!
I'm used to the movement being a little more staggered, but
penguins in there too. Awkward. Oh, I love it.
Oh God.
Yep. But you successfully move the bend where you need it to be, and tie the rope to it to create a secure anchor point for rappelling down the side of the building. So you all successfully rappel down the side of the building. It's not terribly hard. You're only on the second story, so the five of you are now together, two ropes dangling out the side of the building.
It's not precarious at all.
No, not at all.
I think once everyone's together, that's when Vanya's gonna cast Pass Without Trace.
All right. So Pass Without Trace is active.
Yep.
She tosses up this little sprig of spruce with some ash on it and creates, says some words and motions, and poof, it's almost as if it all kind of encompasses you and masks your sound, your scent, and your footsteps as you walk.
We will look to Darius. Are you able to pick the lock?
Should be able to.
Yep, it's not too far down the alleyway. You go up to the, you can go up to the, this cellar door. Make me a stealth check, all of you. At +10 for your Pass Without Trace.
Damn
Those
it.
of you in heavy armor are still at disadvantage.
Wish I could take the first roll. Well, you said +10?
Yep, disadvantage
20.
+10 for our heavy armorers.
27.
17.
25.
36.
Damn rogues!
Gone. Just gone.
It's almost like he disappeared, but he didn't. You could still see him. His footsteps are even lighter than usual, but thanks to all of this this Pass Without Trace that's going on between you all. And we'll definitely keep a note, since that is a concentration spell, that concentration is active. But Darius is quiet as a mouse. The rest of you are still fairly quiet. You're not making any more noise than would be usual for this sort of a setting, for soft-footed individuals like the usual citizenry around here. And so you move quietly towards this cellar door, and Darius, if you would like, you can make a thieves' tools check with dexterity to pick the lock.
$25.
25. This is a lock, much like any other lock. It's a little heavy duty, but it's not one that you haven't picked before. It's a pretty standard, mundane little contraption. It's not even magically reinforced or anything like some of the more expensive locks have. No, this is pretty standard. You use your thieves' tools and your listening skills to move things just in the way that they should. That the lock it pops open, and the little metal sort of contraption that kind of locks it all together, is free to sway as you would see fit.
Off. Lightly open the door, peek in just a little, see if anyone's.
It is dark, but you do see a silhouette of a person sitting there. It kind of looks like it stares down into a very small hallway. There's a person sitting on a chair. looks like they're, a silhouetted sort of humanoid adult. You can't really tell much else about them in this very low light.
Does anyone have chloroform?
Nope. I gently.
Old person, but it only lasts for a minute.
I mean, a minute's more than long enough to get us in there.
If you're talking strategy, I
Only
assume
make
that
him paralyzed though, so wouldn't that mean he would might still be able to see us go past or something?
there's always that possibility. And I assume that you all are talking very quietly, since this person is.
Yeah.
I let the door shut, and
If you're talking strategy, yeah, you're
Yeah,
talking low. Yeah, we just need to be talking loud enough for be able to hear the broadcast. But I assume that you're all talking very soft voices. So,
like one tango inside the door.
Small piece of straight iron for whole person.
you have a druidic focus, so that takes place. That takes any components that you might need and that don't have monetary cost and replaces it. So since you have your staff, you don't need physical components. You just need your staff on hand. So
Figured that was a component that cost money.
I don't think it is. Most things aren't unless they start getting up into like third level spells.
Like, unless it specifically states a monetary value in it.
Yeah, or it says holy water. Holy water is a monetary value one.
Yeah.
But if it requires anything else, like any other component, you either have it or you have your druidic focus. That's how I play it.
Now, I can create a 20-foot sphere around myself. However, if you need to cast spells, you're going to have to be outside of that. And it can last 10 minutes.
A sphere of what?
Silence.
Oh, silence. Okay.
However, if you have spells that require verbal components, it's impossible inside
Impossible
the
to cast.
sphere.
Yeah. So you do have options.
Well, I mean, Darius can be invisible. Kenwin
Yeah.
can be mouse.
Yeah.
So that.
I almost think let's wait until another group comes. Little mouse runs in. Visible me follows behind.
I'm cool with that plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the big uns remain by the door.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that's what we're going to do, we should be hiding in the alley, and I can cast silence so that we are not heard. Particularly yourself.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of how weird that's going to be if a group comes through and is talking to each other, and then suddenly they just can't hear each other.
Yeah, because you can't talk inside of the silent sphere. So, but yep, those are some options. So if that's what you're wanting to do, if you're wanting to do a hide, for the meantime, then everyone needs to make. Well, I'll go off of everybody's existing stealth rolls. So.
Okay. Rune is going to remain by the door, by this other door hidden, in a way that he can still hear, in the case that Kinwin or Darius need backup.
Yep. Understand.
Point remains. Don't engage in combat unless
Absolutely necessary.
Yeah. Just try and get names, ideas, culprits, information.
Mm-hmm.
Lagana's gonna move further down the alley and try and hide himself.
All right. That's gonna still go off of your existing stealth roll.
Mechanically, with silence, can you still hear things from outside the sphere
No.
into it?
No.
No.
Nope.
No. All sound is cut off.
And dampened, yep.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, but also.
Any and all sound is Dunzo Magunzo.
Yep.
Yep. That's the silent spell for you. But so you're waiting for another group to come by.
Yeah.
Okay. It's another few minutes. Just as you finish hiding yourselves, you do see that another group of looks like about 3 people, all sort of in this sort of same garb. You see that now that you're kind of closer and watching them, you do see that there is a distinguishing pattern of that there are symbols and rune. Upon looking at them, it does look like it does contain some of that rounded edge that you found from the bramble from before. These people obviously are not the same person, as that particular edge is not missing from their robes, but
What is he able to piece together what the symbols are?
make a religion check.
Can assist in that.
You know it's
okay. That's not bad.
You know it's part of it, but what symbol it is and who it's representing, you're not sure until we get the idea what your role is.
Okay, so that is going to be 15 total.
15?
Yeah.
Based on what you know, this is this is sort of a modern take on the one-eyed skull with no flames. It's a little more simplified. It's a little more of a little less like hand drawn, sort of hand sketched or hand carved. It looks like it's been more or less screen printed on this cloth.
Okay, but we've confirmed this is for sure.
Yeah, that is a one-eyed skull symbol.
Symbol of Ouija's. All right.
One-eyed skull symbol with no flames.
You know what? Close enough for government work. I'll take it.
Seeing the group, I'm gonna go ahead and cast invisibility.
All right.
On myself.
Does that have a material component?
It was probably about time a wild shape into a giant rat, which is still a small woodland creature, but it has better dexterity.
Okay.
It does, but it's also like a racial thing.
Racial things still need the component, but if it's not monetary value, then it's something that you would have known to pick up.
Yeah. An eyelash encased in gum Arabic.
Yeah. So you just how do you go about using that little bit of gum Arabic to cast invisibility? What's your take on that?
I do the little Simba thing across my forehead, and I just as I do that, I disappear.
Nice. And it's easy enough to pluck one of your own eyelashes to put in there.
Yep.
So you make that little symbol across your face, and instantly you are disappeared. As you make the other components to that, verbal and somatic, and as they make that knocking that you're familiar with now, and the door opens, you see the person that you had seen at the bottom of the staircase. They got up, opened the door, but also realized that the door is now unlocked. You see that there's a little bit of concern on this creature's face. You don't see most of their face, but you see them get a little tense about it. They open up the door. They let in the other robed individuals. I need you to make me Just a straight dexterity check to get in. Both Kidwin and Darius to get in without notice. And I will consider. Well, actually, I'll consider this another stealth check because you'll get the pass without trace bonus.
Plus, since I'm invisible, it'd be advantage, correct?
Yep, you're at advantage.
(19 and 19 is 38.
Yep.
Okay.
Bruh. 15 for the little mouse, the giant woodland rat.
Yep.
I will make a roll for our individuals. I'll just count them as a group. Single group roll. They don't seem to notice. None of them seem to notice either of you. So you're able to slink in. You're in and hidden. And when this person goes back and closes the hatch, it locks again, and you are able to now move as you would see fit.
Quietly sneaking behind the group following them, listening to any conversation that they're having.
They seem to be excited. They're, looking forward to the sermon. They're kind of they kind of seem like a religious group. That you get the sense that they're maybe like initiates. That
we're totally going to youth group on Wednesday night.
Essentially. They're pretty excited. They're looking forward to it. They're kind of bummed out that one of the that a couple of the pews had broken in half recently. So, kind of sitting at angles, never very comfortable, but they're not going to complain when this isn't exactly the most kosher of group meetings.
Follow them on into the meeting place.
All right. What are you doing, Kinwin?
For any mouse holes or anything to be able to get into the walls?
You said that that a giant woodland rat is a small creature, not a tiny creature.
Yeah. So too big.
It'll be a little bit of a size difference, yeah.
Alright, then I just follow them into.
They don't seem to notice that you're coming by. They're just happily talking amongst themselves. What do the rest of you do?
Lagan is staying in the alley and hiding.
Okay.
Trying to wait for... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Trying to wait for any cue from Kenwin or Darius that they need help.
Okay.
Remaining hidden as well. And paying attention to any additional groups that will come through, listening to their conversations as they pass.
Okay. So you guys aren't really making an effort to go in. There are several other groups, pairs, singles, groups of 3. They don't really ever come in larger groups than that, so as not to draw attention. Some of them are dressed in that robes, and some of which look like they're dressed in ordinary clothing. So you get the sense that there's a mix of people here coming in now. You kind of but they all kind of come into and now that Kinwin and Darius have kind of found themselves a little nook to kind of settle in and listen into. There's probably a good 15 people down here now, but by the time everyone looks like they're settled in, there's a there seems to be some conversation going on between the different people. But when a certain individual starts taking the front of the room, everything gets quiet, and they start to doing a bit of a bit of singing, chanting. The lighting in the room is still very low. Candles are lit. That that sort of one-eyed skull symbol is kind of has they put up a banner that has that symbol on it, and the person at the center of the room starts going on about the legends of the Whispered One. You definitely hear that is the focus of that that this is kind of a religious cult dedicated to them, and this person in the center starts doing some what seem to be magic tricks that kind of looks like they convince the rest of the group, starts speaking in a very leadership kind of way towards a sort of rebellious cause against the Lord Kaiji, and sort of kind of like downplays the rest of everything that starts to go in a lot of what you would imagine is like propaganda and things like that. And after about an hour, that your wild shape and your invisibility are going to run out soon. So I know the invisibility is going to run out within an hour or so. So how do you intend to...
Shape has 2 hours.
Last 2 hours for wild shape? Okay, so you still have a bit longer on yours. But Darius, what do you intend to do now that it's getting close to the end of your invisibility?
I'm just going to quietly make my way back to the door, and look and see if the person that was opening the door is still there, if he had joined in to listen to the sermon.
It looks like he was still, sitting down at that seat, because while he could listen in, he still needed to keep an ear out for anything that might cause trouble. Because since they did say that this was sort of a taboo sort of meeting, that need to listen out for anybody who might cause a ruckus. So he was still doing the on guard sort of thing.
Did either Darius or Kinwin get a good look at who was conducting the sermon?
It was definitely low light, but definitely give me perception check, both of y'all, because I did not. Thank you for pointing that out.
30-20.
30-20.
Keep my mental stats, right?
Yep, you do.
16.
All right. You look upon the face of this individual, and they look like sort of a cat folk, but they have no fur.
A sphinx.
A sphinx cat, sort of beast folk.
Ew.
So you imagine River as if River would not have any fur. But yeah, that's the look that you get. You do see that they do have sort of a tail that sways back and forth behind them in their robes. Um, their uh, their robes do have a looks like it does have a bit of like a ranking insignia on it, but definitely has the same motifs as the rest of the group. And the rest are look like your usual Kombay citizens, like they're Aarakocra or beast folk of other kinds, or they're elves or human. Kind of a smattering of a little bit of everything. But the leader is definitely a Sphinx cat.
What did the leader refer to themselves with anything?
As far as their name, let me generate one real quick.
I need culprits coffee.
You know, you're right, and I needed to generate a name. I just hadn't yet.
Arius is thinking he has one of two options. Smoke bomb or knocking this guy out.
He calls himself Brother Aryan.
Okay.
Doesn't give a last name.
Raven, I know you and me thought the same thing.
Uh-huh.
You know what? That's close enough. That's Gucci. Darius, if you need help getting out, if you need someone to come in and grab a bag, you know.
Yeah, yeah. While
Remember, there are about 15 people down here.
Yep. Let's see. Smoke bomb. Let's read what that does again. 20-foot heavily obscured.
There's also the thought of if we want or need to come back down here at any point. So smoke bomb may not be best bet.
Yeah. No, completely agree with that, but you know how hard it is to physically knock somebody out? And I am not strong. I am a weak boy.
You are a rogue. So if you got the jump on them, which you would have advantage being invisible, you would get sneak attack. I'm just posing that as an option for you, because...
Then all you have to do is prop them up in the chair like they fell asleep.
Yeah. I guess that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
Like, bash them non-lethally
over the head
with my rapier, trying to get. Yeah.
Since it is non-lethal, that is what we'll consider there. Go ahead and make me an attack roll at advantage.
Natural 20.
So it is a crit. So
So it's a D8 plus 6d6.
Yep. Times 2.
Well, no, it would be 3d6 times 2.
And your D8 is double 2.
Yeah, the D8. So
2d8 plus 66.
6 is 14. 25, 33, 39.
Plus your dex modifier?
Plus 3 is 42.
42 points of damage. And this guy is knocked clean out.
Like, to the temple. Non-lethal. Yeah, so, and then,
even your non-lethal was bordering on lethal.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it was.
He probably has permanent brain damage now.
I mean...
No, don't say that!
You're not wrong. I mean, rogues don't care, though, so...
non-lethal, not non-damaging.
Yeah, exactly. And then, yeah, I am going to prop him back up in the chair, just make it look like he fell asleep.
Your invisibility is now gone.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Bring him with.
And then...
Interrogation, bring him with!
Okay, yeah. Bring him with.
And I need you to make a stealth check.
Oh.
Pass Without a Trace still active?
Yes, it is.
36.
Alright. Without a sound, this man is knocked out, collapses into your arm, and you are free to move as you please.
Guess try and take him with me?
Out the hatch? Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quietest little knots on the hatches.
Quiet as a mouse. Not a sound is made. And the rest of Vanya, Rune, and Lagan, you do see that Darius is coming out with an individual. Kinwin, what are you doing?
Beat that, so I'll probably just follow him out.
Well, once he becomes visible again, then you know that he's a he's a possible target. But you do follow him out if you'd like. Now that you can see him once more.
How big is the guy with Darius?
Average humanoid height.
Same height as Darius?
Yeah, thereabouts.
Is he wearing a robe?
Yeah, he's wearing a robe. He was hooded before, but you kind of get a good look at him now, and you'll see that he's human.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah, Darius can cosplay him.
Yeah.
If he wanted to.
Put on his robe, disguise yourself as him. You can go back down there. We can take him back up there, and nobody's ever going to know that he's missing.
I mean, that gives us another hour.
Does indeed.
Yeah. I will say that the concentration for Pass Without Trace is probably over at this point, because it was only up to an hour.
Okay.
So if need be, I can recast it.
I mean, are we gonna get much more with Emily? I mean, one, we don't know how long they're gonna stay there. So if it's any longer than an hour,
we still need more information on these guys, and you have the best bet of getting back down there undetected.
Yeah.
We can get him out of here.
Go in as the individual, and you can ask Dr. Arian some questions. Doctor? Brother Arian?
yeah, but again, he's guarding the door. It's gonna be weird to have him leave his post.
Okay. You can make yourself look like him. Put his robe on. You have an hour. If that's not enough, fuck it. He just disappeared. We don't know what happened to him.
So where he was, could I still hear like what they were saying from the other room?
Yeah, you can still overhear.
Okay. I mean, I guess I'll disguise self and put his robe on and go sit back at the door at least and try to listen to what they're saying. You know,
Alright,
they've not
so
got to the milk and cookies part of the youth group yet. So
if we're gonna haul this guy back up into the rooms, I am gonna cast Pass Without Trace again, just to kind of help cover up that sound.
So is everybody going to be in the same radius again?
Yeah, might as
Gonna
well.
have to start.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Then, we'll kind of move to because there's not going to be a whole lot more that goes on at the little meeting place, but you guys want to make an interrogation of the guard guy, so. So how do you wake him up?
Is there any water in the room?
No.
Oh, lucky for us. Or something like that. Let's see. Where is create water again? There it is.
create water in his mouth. Oh, we're waterboarding him. Got it.
That is not what I said.
Flashbacks to that one time I had a character that had create water. I'm like, I create water in their lungs.
That's a bad thing.
God.
Technically, is not a space from which you could see.
Their mouths were open.
10 gallons of water. That's what I was trying to look for. Was how much water do I create or destroy? Not what I was intending to do today, but
Destroy the water in his brain.
I was thinking there's that's entirely all the water in his body at 10 gallons.
Yeah.
We're just. He picks up some of the materials he's been carrying. I do know he has like a Dungeoneer's pack, so that includes probably a canteen that he literally never uses. He just has it. So takes that. Fill this.
Okay.
Creates water, and as soon as it's in there, he just.
And he is wakened up by the splashing of a water on his face. Kind of just looks at you all, kind of like, where am I?
In a place where you need to answer questions, not ask them.
Okay.
Why are you meeting in the basement?
Because it's the only place to meet?
What is the cause of your organization? We're fully aware of the circumstances of what it is, how it's about. We're interested in the cause.
To end corruption.
To end corruption.
Yeah.
There have been. What do you define as corruption?
The Lord Kaiji, he's a tyrant.
And yet you have an association with Ouijas.
Yeah, it's kind of taboo.
Yes, it is.
It's not illegal.
Do you know? But you know what is, and is in association with Ouijas what is considered illegal.
No religion's illegal here.
what necromancy is.
You think we're necromancers?
Associated with Ouijas.
Yeah, she's the
Why
goddess of
shouldn't we be?
magic.
Is the whispered one.
What? You whispered too much.
Who is the whispered one?
Oh. You mean that one? He's only called the whispered one.
What is his relationship to Ouijas?
According to the stories, she stole his position. He was the one who guided all of us through life and through death. And then she came along, stripped him of all of his power, cast him back into the astral sea.
Took his powers for herself. So it's not Ouijas that you are following, but the whispered one. Is that right?
Do I have to answer more questions?
You don't have a choice.
The whispered one is only being rediscovered.
Rediscovered how? And what is your organization's relationship?
Look, I'm just here for putting an end to tyrants.
And do you know what Brother Arian's intent is?
I don't know. He doesn't say much about that. Besides, he's an idiot anyway.
Yet you listen to him.
Rune is, he nods. It appears you are primarily a civilian in this matter. However, you will be required for questioning.
What did you think I was? Some kind of military something?
You are witness to certain crimes related within the city. Fortunately, we will have to detain you for the time being for further questioning.
Are you police? Guards?
As far as you're concerned, yes.
Look, I didn't do anything wrong.
That is not within my authority to determine. You will simply be detained for the time being. And further authorities will determine whether or not you have done anything wrong.
I haven't done anything wrong. Like, the necromancy? That's part of the corruption.
What is your take on that? How do you suppose that's part of any sort of governmental organization?
Well, I don't know, but it's corrupt, isn't it?
Rune just nods his head. My statement stands.
You're telling us you guys have nothing to do with the necromancy going on in the city?
I don't. I don't know about anybody else.
Who else is part of your little group?
It's just us.
Who is us?
Well, you...
Names.
God, he'll go down a list of names.
And we will notate it, the names.
Of 15 people?
Yep.
No.
Final question. Do you know where we can find Brother Arian during daytime hours?
He's a... I don't know.
If you give that information, we will not be detaining you tonight. You will be able to go through free, but only if you provide us that answer.
He can be found at the Bard College. Goes to school there. He's just a kid, just like me.
Noted.
And I think you might have heard his name wrong. He's Darren.
Darren. We definitely heard his name wrong.
Uh-huh.
Like, if you really want, you could meet up with him at the Bard College. I don't know what more you're gonna learn, though. Or just... It's edgy.
Viren looks to the rest of the group. Does this seem satisfactory at the time?
Now, yes.
Then Rin looks over to this kid. Here forward, you will stay out of trouble. I understand that circumstances within governmental affairs are strenuous at best.
Look, man, I don't cause trouble.
Stay out of groups like these. Do not put your head above water. And leave. Go home. And don't speak of this again.
You're fucking weird.
What you may not understand is what you're involved with is illegal.
Oh, shit.
Go.
And he
just steps to the side, puts his hand out.
He goes towards the door.
You can't leave that way.
You mean out the window?
You have to go out the window.
And he goes over towards the window. You notice he's a little bit of a chunky guy. And he not so gracefully kind of hops over the window with the rope and falls a little too quickly. It seems to fall on his ass. Gets up and starts to get his bearings so he can go back home.
Yeah, so what are the chances we just infiltrated a group that has basically nothing to do with what we're trying to investigate? He seemed pretty adamantly anti the things. that we were also anti.
Potentially. The cults. Go ahead.
If he is just a young pawn in all this, he will do whatever he's told, whenever he's told. But you don't give them the information. This would be more of an inner circle. This Brother Arian or Darren would be the person with whom that would have more information.
That could also be true.
But that doesn't leave to mention Kinwin. I agree with your sentiments that there is suspicion to be had here. For now, let us leave the list of names to ourselves.
Till we can find out more.
I want to have certainty. I'm not looking to out a group of religious sects. I'm looking to find a necromancer, or the cause of the bringing of the undead, and put a stop to that. Not resolve political disputes.
It's getting close to that hour in which Darius's costume is going to run out.
I overhear anything else in that time?
You overhear that they're definitely focused in on kind of the worship of death and of the death gods and everything to do with that. That they're kind of definitely all over, like, when it comes to all over the religious part of it, and then ultimately they, because in seeing deeper in to the sort of gathering hall where they were all sitting, as the candles were all being lit, you did see some skeletons being that were up on some altars, that there were some skulls that have kind of littered the place, and that there were a couple of bodies that looked fresher than the skeletons. So you did see that in there as the light started to grow up. Kind of pacing back and forth, kind of peeking in, kind of going back to the chair for time, kind of peeking your head around again, and peeking in. It's kind of going back and forth. They, for a brief moment, you thought you heard some rattling of bones, but it stopped.
Yeah, I'll peek down to see if I can see anything as to what they're doing. And my dark vision goes out to 60 feet.
Mm-hmm. You see all of it, and see all of that in black and white. And so, with the low light in this place, you definitely see all of that, and that there's some words and gestures that the leader seems to be doing, but nothing seems to move very significantly. You kind of guess that there's maybe a little bit of parlor trickery going on here. Or maybe it's real. You're not entirely certain. You're not really an arcanist. but definitely noteworthy.
And with that, I am taking the rope with me and noping the fuck out.
All right. So you exit through the cellar door just as your disguise is starting to wear off. And you are silent as Pass Without a Trace is still on. Because Pass Without a Trace lasts an hour, 2?
Yeah,
and
2 an hour.
And they refreshed it when you put your disguise on. So yeah, that was starting to run out too. But that is where you stand with that. So everyone can meet up if they would like to, if they want to go and ambush the leader, see what's going on with him.
I mean, we could. Or we could ambush him at school.
We could.
Yeah.
That's an option too.
Where do we want to go?
I'm climbing back up the rope to get to the room.
I'd rather not have to bribe the guards to get back to him.
I'm hearing what Kinwin's saying. There might be something a little more involved here. So Rune personally does want to talk to Brother Darren. Force him in a social setting so he can't pull any magic. Not easily, at least.
Yeah.
A wise move.
We could send Strings to college, have him infiltrate the group even more. I don't know. Brain went left.
Isn't that the name of the child that met us at the college the other day and gave us directions to the professors?
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that too.
Could be. You guys haven't seen the face.
No.
No. But Darius has.
Mm-hmm.
He never took his hoods off. Darius really only got a shadow.
Nope, you said this was a hairless cat.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's right. He did get a good look at him.
Don't gaslight us.
I'm not. God.
I'm just giving you shit.
I can't think. No brain.
Brain.
I mean, I'm content with our progress as of today.
Yeah. Jumping at school.
We're gonna. I think it would be good if we jumped him at school.
Okay.
We're gonna become the playground bullies.
Oh, Lord.
Give us your lunch money, nerd.
Alright, so that's the plan. Call it quits for the night, and then start up again in the afternoon. Ambush him on the Spark College grounds.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
So these are all 15 of these people are all kids, right?
And a couple adults.
Okay.
Plan was we weren't passing that along to what's his name?
Redmark?
Redmark?
Yeah.
I mean,
not right now.
You all can make your decisions, but Rune doesn't want to do that. Like, he's voiced he doesn't want to do that just yet because, well, it's So far, there's a lot of pedestrians in this list, and we already know there's political turmoil going on with this whole thing.
Yeah.
Similar to Rune, Lagan is questioning any of the information that we have right now, and we don't have enough information to take it to anybody.
Yeah.
So we need more information.
Don't want to contribute to any McCarthyism or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I just want to get a necromancer. But I need to make sure I'm actually getting a necromancer, not some fucking college students.
Well, then we can move on. You all get your rest for the next day. Next day comes in, so you can prepare as you see fit. Since you do have rooms that you're staying in.
Yes. So I think what might be useful is Zone of Truth, but let me look at my list.
I can replace silence with Zone of Truth.
Yeah, if you want to collude and have certain people take certain spells, then you can do so.
Okay, let me check. Artificer spell list. I don't really have anything. I think I will trade out I think I will trade out one spell for slightly stronger attack spell. Maybe detect magic. I don't know the usefulness of that in the situation at the moment. I don't know. I do not know.
Well, gotta decide that in the morning.
Yep. Yeah. All right.
All right.
I think I'm good.
All right. You have prepared yourselves in the way that you would see fit. And you make your way towards the Bard College since you wanted to check in about and see if Strings' entry has been approved as of yet. Which is approved. You just need the funds to send him.
Oh.
When talking to the administrator and talking about that for the brief moment that you do.
How much was the down payment again?
I believe it was 1,000 gold per year.
Yeah.
1,000 gold per year. Where are we on totals of funds?
We have 1,119 gold.
Should we send our boy to college? Since we're gonna be there anyways.
We should.
Yeah, we should.
Oh, baby.
We're gonna send our boy to college.
So fast.
Love it. Love to see it. All right. So, upon leaving the college, you can send Strings the good news when you see him next. But you're looking for this Darren, this Sphinx cat sort of person. If you all would like, you can make perception or investigation checks, your choice.
I will make an investigation check.
I will make perception.
Rune got a 17 on an investigation.
19 on perception.
21 investigation.
27 perception.
And Kinwin?
Oh.
How much?
18.
18. All right, everybody does really well. And it seems that everybody spots him at once. You see that he has, the big sort of cat ears that you come to expect when it comes to some tabaxi. That he's got this long tail. He's definitely very hairless, and you can see that he's all sort of a uniform color when it comes to he's kind of just this sort of muted, fleshy color that Sphinx cats tend to have, and he's kind of walking around with he's kind of walking around in the sort of traditional sort of school garb, because you get the sense that without any kind of fur or hair or anything like that, that he's wearing hats and things like that, and he looks like he might have some sensitive skin. So he's walking around with a sort of hat on. He's got long sleeves and kind of long sort of robes and pants and things. Kind of tucked into his boots and things like that. He kind of looks like he would be an adventurer if it wasn't for the fact that it's all kind of school branded. He's kind of walking with a group of friends who all seem to be similarly dressed, of a variety of different kinds of people, and he's but with him, being sort of a unique, sort of looking character, that's part of the reason that probably a lot of people are drawn to him, is he's his type is not common, and judging from the way that he's interacting with people, he seems fairly charismatic. It looks like this group of people is on their way to another class, that they've got their books and instruments and other things together with them. Might be off to some kind of class or practice of some kind. And what do you do?
Do we trail him, or do we approach him directly?
Say maybe trail him for a little bit, see if we can get him. He, kind of steps away from his friends a little bit, so we can get him off on his own.
How many people are around us?
You're kind of sitting out in the courtyard. You're kind of in a group on your own, but there's other school students and faculty kind of roaming the grounds, going from this place to that place.
Anybody looking like they're paying any particular attention to us?
Make a perception check.
Love those. 25.
You do catch the eyes of people.
Mm-hmm.
They think they have expressions on their face. That's an odd bunch. But there are a lot of odd bunches.
Nobody paying any particular close attention. Because when he gets within 60 feet, I'm going to cast something.
No one seems to be paying you much mind at all.
Okay, when he's within 60 feet, I'm going to cast Zone of Truth. on him.
Okay.
That's a charisma save.
Charisma save.
Yeah.
As a note, people who are affected by Zone of Truth do know that they have Zone of Truth casted on them.
Yes, they do.
Yes, but he's not going to know where it came from. And I know whether or not he passes or fails.
Natural 20. He passes.
Shit.
Well, that's just one use, and he doesn't know where it came from. And I can cast it again.
Did you see he does tend to look around though, to see if he could spot somebody who might be trying to cast a spell. As he's walking with his group, and they kind of converse about, you know, what it is that he's kind of looking back and forth about.
Do we want to get him over to us? I just had an idea.
Yeah. I was thinking we just interrogate him, but
Vanya's gonna send Zephyr over to steal a bag or something from him.
Okay.
Bark.
Persuading Zephyr is never a hard thing, but let's see if Zephyr can actually steal something from them. So this is going to be a dexterity check from Zephyr. If you want to roll it, or do you want me to roll it?
Yeah. Roll it. $17.
Zephyr is able to successfully steal something that was hanging off of your friend your new companion Darren's belt and make off with it. The whole group starts to chase him. And Zephyr does bring it towards you, Vanya.
Boy.
Is this your dog?
Sorry about that. He tends to a little hyperactive.
Should keep him on a leash if you're gonna walk with him on public grounds, miss.
He's usually more well behaved.
Well, apparently not. And he goes to grab his belongings back.
As he does so, Rune is just going to interpose for a moment. Your name is Darren, correct?
Yes. Can I have my things back?
Yes. But in exchange, we need to have a private conversation.
Who are you?
As of right now, that is not pertinent.
That's pertinent if you want a private conversation.
It's pertinent that you give us the private conversation anyways, considering we're with the guard.
We are enemies of tyrants.
Don't say that too
was
loud.
Contrasting.
Which is it? Are you with the guard or are you not? Because I think we're done here.
Guard.
We're conducting an investigation. But you're going to assist us.
Do I have a choice?
No.
Then who's the tyrant here?
I'm not here to speak on politics. Come with us. Rune is just gonna start marching to a location that's a little more discreet but still within, like, the public eye.
And you'll notice that Darren is going to walk in an opposite direction.
Vanya still has his things.
Mm-hmm.
He's willing to let it go.
Make a wisdom save.
Okay. That is 16.
God damn it, just beats it. Okay.
I suppose then you would like for the local militia to know about your organization, location, and all 15 members.
You hear that his friends are starting to ask him, what is he talking about? What's going on? And Darren just kind of hushes them and if I go with you now, can I get to class before it starts?
We'll see.
I have a busy day.
It'll be a lot busier if you were not agreeable.
Make an intimidation check.
All right, let's see where we're at with that. It's a pretty good roll, but I just forget what my charisma is.
Hopefully better than mine.
Intimidation? It's just a flat 19 then.
He seems to find those words troubling. Kind of straightens up his uniform a little bit. Fine. And he starts to follow you, Ruden.
Good. Now we're making progress.
Yes.
All right. Once we're alone.
Is it just you and him?
No, I bring the rest of the party. I want everyone else to help me interrogate because I'm not. I got like 0 with all my charisma skills. I need help. Quick, someone more mouthy.
Lagan's just going to put a hand on his shoulder. Firmly. Not squeezing, but he's not letting go. It's best if you stay with us.
Don't touch me. He kind of pulls.
Lagan squeezes. Would you like to explain to the guards your nightly fucking adventures, little boy?
He still attempts to pull his shoulder out of your hand.
Okay. Strength? Or what?
No, we're still public. Please don't hit him.
I'm not hit. No, Lagan's hand is on his shoulder. It wasn't squeezing, but it is now.
Mm-hmm. Yep, strength check.
Dirty 20. Wait, no. Yeah, dirty 20, sorry.
Nope.
I keep forgetting Lagan is a pirate.
Mm-hmm. He tries to, but he can't get his shoulder out of your grip.
Break collar. Please come with us.
I already said I was.
I am making sure. I do not trust your words.
What is this about?
once they're in a private location.
Yep, you're able to find someplace a little more secluded.
Right. At that point, Rune is going to simply start asking questions. First question. I didn't really prepare any first. What is the cause of your organization?
To bring down corruption.
By following a corrupt deity?
That part is because it's edgy.
So you fight corruption with corruption. How does that stop the corruption?
So taking the heads off of corpses is edgy.
Yes. They're not using them anyway. It's the same principle as the Shadowheart Empire used to use. The bodies are just a machine. The soul, whatever the fuck that is, it's just energy. All meant to be recycled.
You do understand.
Necromancy.
I wouldn't necessarily call myself a necromancer. I'm not that skilled.
But the practices you are using for your edginess are considered necromancy.
So is the healing of wounds. Technically.
What is your association with what we have construed as necromancy in the city? The rising of dead and shambling corpses. Do you have an association with that?
Do you really want to know?
Yes.
Are you sure that you want to know? Because it only gets dirtier from here.
You're going to want to tell us.
Fine. Our job is just to loosen the dirt. That's it. The real workers, the real necromancers, they're the ones who make them rise. Reuse the body. Because it's a machine. If you could have a milieu of servants that could obey your commands without question, wouldn't you have them?
No. Supposed to fuel new life, not rise again as the undead.
What is that, some kind of newfound way of some other entity? It was the teachings of Weejas, it was the teachings of the Whispered One. All of it was considered valid.
There is a balance, and you are disturbing that balance. Don't know the untold horrors and terrors that you are bringing back. Would you like to face the shambling hordes when they return? Or are you somehow protected?
Like I said, we just loosen dirt. That's it.
Who is the real necromancers then?
I don't know their name. They just send messages.
How?
With sending. You know, the spell?
Yes, I do.
Apparently they've seen me. That's all they need.
That is all anyone with this needs. You will tell me and get your next message.
It could be any time, anywhere.
And I do not care. You find me and give me the message you've given. And I squeeze a little harder.
Ow.
Look. Fact of the matter is, if you want to know what our prerogative is, fundamentally it is to halt the necromantic dealings. Because regardless of theological belief, the matters of consent as to whether or not those bodies are being used is being, well, boundaries are being crossed. It isn't within it isn't within any justice that people should have to see that their loved ones, corpses and whatnot, used, regardless of how that stands, what the purposes are. Now, out of respect for you and your people, although we have these names, we're not going to give any of that information away just yet, because as stated, we are looking for the necromancers, not a bunch of kids and individuals out for some political fight or fair. If you want to stop any sort of corruption, that's your prerogative. But we are doing the same on our end. We are willing to work with you, if you will with us. We will protect your name and your members' names. If you're willing to tell us the next time these necromancers give you that message. And if not, there is nothing I nor any of my compatriots can do to protect you. Is that an acceptable trade?
So either I am ruined by saying nothing, or I'm ruined by saying something. Either way, it's a lose-lose. Either way, I'm getting, expelled? Killed?
We're not going to kill you. We're not giving this information to your teachers, your professors. We're not giving this information to the guards.
You're
Or anybody
blackmailing
else.
me.
Or anyone else that may be concerned. You help us. We leave you be. You don't help us. Who's to say?
Sounds like blackmail to me.
Sounds like fighting corruption with corruption to me. Which is what you do.
I know you can cast spells.
Maybe.
Make me tell you.
Squeeze harder.
He's toughing it out, but he looks like he's hurting.
I'd rather not break. King shoulder, little boy. You have a good pain tolerance. It doesn't last.
I understand my place.
And apparently you're understanding it as you want to remain within a cell in prison.
Along with all of the other members of your little group.
If that is your prerogative, I will not argue it. And Rune will take out the small piece of fabric. Just throw it on the ground in front of him. You're making your choice.
All you want is a name?
That is it. And the next time they try to communicate with you,
Well, the head of the snake is none other than Lord Kaiji.
so Lord Kaiji is the one that is arranged for all of the dead to start returning. And sends you messages about helping these people.
That's what I've been told.
By whom?
Does it matter?
If you wish to walk away with this arrangement intact, yes.
I've already given you a name.
I don't believe you. By whom were you given Lord Kaiji's name, little boy?
Make me an intimidation check.
I think I'm going to make a wild suggestion. Because Lagon is squeezing his arm, does he get to use his strength for intimidation instead?
Can if he likes.
It's a natural 20, which on charisma would be a 19, which strength would make it 22.
Take the two. I mean,
not that that's necessary, because this guy was rolling at disadvantage to resist. Which is a 2.
You pick whichever one it needs to be. I don't care if it's charisma or if it's strength based. Either one.
Yeah, he definitely looks like he's buckling, and he does look like he's in some serious pain. Because he has tears, and he's kind of got this sort of grimace on his face. He's finding it very hard to move that arm now.
Yes. And if I squeeze any more, I know I'm going to break the collarbone.
And so he kind of grimaces through the pain and says, I don't know that one's name.
Can you describe him for us, please?
I've never seen him.
At this point, slightly lessening up on the grip, Lagana's going to cast Cure Wounds.
And he's still grimacing because it's still painful.
Oh, it's going to be, but any signs of bruising should disappear rapidly. And that is,
I believe,
I'm pretty sure I didn't do 10 points of damage to it, but that's 10 points of damage healed.
Okay.
I believe you in this instance, Terry. You're not going to want to continue any of your activities moving forward. Keep your head down. Lay low.
What did you learn?
That those against the Lord Kaiji will stop at nothing.
I have no love for Kaiji.
You're bought by him. No, you're bought by his enemies.
I'm bought by no... I'm owned by no one. Save myself. Just learn not to piss off very large blue folks. If I hadn't controlled myself, you'd have no use of that arm. I have no love for Kaiji. And if you can prove what you're saying is true, I'll protect you. But if I catch you messing out with fucking cemeteries anytime, I can't promise you or your friends will be walking away.
Fuck you.
Remember that shoulder. That is just but a taste of what I can truly do to you, little boy.
You're just proving our point.
You have answers. We need them. You refuse. Sometimes you have to get a bit creative.
Can I go now?
Remember what I said. The next time they contact you, let me know.
Fine, whatever.
I'll keep my eye on you.
That's it. Once he's gone, Room will look at Lagon. I'll just put his hand on Lagon's shoulder. It's a knowing nod.
When you put your hand on his shoulder, he closes his eyes and bows his head and says a silent prayer to them. This was not what he wanted to do. This was not the kind of life he wanted.
I do not owe my loyalties to any master either. I don't believe any of us do. Some greater context.
But harming a young foolish boy for fucking worse. Just shakes his head and starts walking off.
And in that moment, Lagon, you might feel a little distant from the Wild Mother tonight.
Very distant.
We're doing what we can to find the truth of this matter. Indeed. The end of the Snake's Head.
If he's right, we've got bigger problems.
I like that for an ending. It's a good cliffhanger.
If toppling the city, if toppling and doing what is right would end a city as you know it, would you do it?
Every damn time.
If the city's corrupt and bad.
Something to keep in mind, because the professor posed that question to Kinwin. But, yes, we can definitely end it there, as that is a very good place to call it a night. So, thank you guys so much for playing.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
That got a bit intense at the end.
I try to make things as intense as possible when they happen.
Yeah. No, I also feel like that was the most progress we've made on this particular plot. No, 1 second. I'm content. Like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
I mean, I kind of saw it coming, but also, like, fuck, man. Now we really can't get that information to, what's his bucket, Redmark?
Yep, Redmark Zarex.
No, this is a little kid. He has some information.
Yeah,
He thinks he's smarter than everyone else. The reason I told him to give me that information, I'm going to go out to that cemetery myself and wait for these fuckers.
Oh yeah, no, that's
yeah.
I think we're all on the same page with that. Is we're gonna do precisely that.
So,
and yeah.
If that's the next big sort of leap that the party is wanting to do, that would afford you, I will tell you now, that will afford you a couple of weeks downtime.
Okay.
So you can spend a couple of weeks downtime doing something if you like. Otherwise, we'll jump to a couple, like, in character a couple of weeks from now when you do get that message from him.
Okay. Yeah, a couple weeks downtime. Lagan was wanting to work with Rune and Kinwin about finding stuff to see if they can try and make some potions, or if Rune needs any help with anything of what they were doing.
Yep, and we'll resolve any downtime activities you guys want to do in the next session at the start, and then move into the next piece of progression. But
I'm content with that.
Yeah. When during the off week, I would like all of you to post what it is that you're going to do for downtime. If you don't post anything, I will assume you are just biding time. So if you want to do something, please post it in there so that I can work out what roles I would need from you so that we can resolve that.
Sure, yes, sir.
Other than that, I'm assuming another night or two with Jalissa.
You can spend some time with Jalissa. The beautiful bard, the beautiful dwarf woman.
Yes.
Yeah, I got some ideas. Rune goes on a date with Vanya. Imagine it specifically as she tricks him into going on a date.
Now that's the... No, not...
I love that. Love that.
Yep. I can totally see that between the two of them, Vanya is going to have to be the one to make the first move here.
I don't want you to let go.
No.
She got all the information she needed from that one.
Beautiful, beautiful. Poll is up for the chats so that you guys can vote on who was your favorite for tonight without any. There's no need to give any reason. Just spend your channel points doing so if you so desire, or bits, because we do appreciate bits. We do appreciate all of you who are in the chat watching, all 16 of you right now. So definitely love our audience. But with y'all finishing up a little bit of progress on that, and with it being kind of slow on my part, I do apologize because I am no brain. I'm always no brain, but
I'm here regardless.
But I am glad to have provided you with some kind of progress on that and closure in a little bit, and so that's my bad for being so obtuse. I'm always obtuse in my games, and I don't understand why it is I have to be that way, but I am. My brain.
It's not intentional.
It's not intentional. It's really not. It's just meant to be a puzzle. Solved a puzzle. This is what my puzzle looks like, except you can't see it.
I have two different brains. I have VTM brain, which is very good at solving puzzles, and then I have D&D brain, which is just like, I am not very good at solving puzzles. They gave me a riddle. I got that.
You play a character who is good at solving puzzles, though.
Yeah, but he's not like VTM Machiavellian puzzle solver.
Is he though? He's 18
No.
intelligence, isn't he?
He's not Machiavellian though. He doesn't try to manipulate people. He's got 0 charisma. He's got no intentions of manipulation. He just wants to know stuff.
He wants to know the facts.
Yeah.
This is why Cypher likes you.
I love puzzles. Lagan loves puzzles. But he needs more fucking pieces to put this shit together.
Yeah, that.
Right?
It's not my fault you were asking me the same damn questions 5 different times.
We got all of the internal pieces. We need the edge pieces now.
Yeah. But I love you guys, so I'm sorry.
Nah, love you, dude. You're good.
Okay. Well, let's move on to some experience so that we can get all of this underway. So we do things a little differently than most D&D day games do because the experience is arbitrary, and I say what I say goes. So the way that we do that is, for showing up, everyone gets 5 experience. For working toward the group goal, the whole party gets, I'm going to say 5 experience this time. Yeah. And so then we move on to some roleplay centric where you guys get to have your fingers in someone else's pie potentially about how they progress and how you progress. So, and then of course the viewer experience goes to those who want to be the fickle god. 100% of the vote goes to Lagan. Because only one person voted. Well, that person gets to sway it in Lagan's favor. Yep. But for our roleplay centric questions for who gets experience amongst the cast, who moved the plot the furthest?
Ooh. I'm gonna have to give that one to Darius.
Yeah.
For doing the many sneaky rogue things.
The many sneaky rogue things, yep.
Mm-hmm.
There's that.
Also having the initial plot point of Red Mark.
Mm.
Yeah.
I kind of handed that one to him, yeah.
Yeah.
But you guys did something with it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my vote is Darius.
Anyone else want to put in a word in edgewise there?
Apparently not.
Nope.
No one else is contesting that?
I completely agree that it's Darius.
Oh, okay. What do you think, Woden?
Darius.
Okay. Well, that's majority vote anyway. Darius, there you are. Who had the best scene?
Gone.
Lagon.
In
Lagon
there with the kid.
Yeah.
It was a very intense scene.
Pinch.
Oh no, there's no pinch there. That's a full, firm, whole hand on the shoulder, thumb on the collarbone. I will break it if you do not stop talking to me like this.
And you big dude. Your
Yes.
your hands are about time and a half times his.
Right?
Yeah. That is really... I felt that. I felt it. Rune is not very good at consoling, but like he was just like he put his hand on Lagon's shoulder because it's like, I know this was hard for you.
Lagon appreciates that, and as hard as it is, and as hard as you say it is, Rune is making efforts to show that there is more emotion than anybody's willing to just straight up look at and see or recognize.
Yep.
He knows there's something more there. He doesn't know what it is yet, so he has a little distrust, but...
Something very strange about this
Walking metal man.
Just waiting for the moment to pull that one line from Futurama. What is it? Bite my shiny metal ass? Yeah. I'm saving it. Saving it.
For when Rune goes into full emotional trash mode.
Okay.
Because it'll happen, I'm sure.
At some point.
Alright. So that goes to Lagon for best scene?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Who had our best line?
Darius had another really good line tonight.
Man, see, there's lots of arms to go around.
And then the follow-up from Redmark, I find your jokes very crude.
I never claimed to not be a not crude person. I am a pirate.
Not that anybody else knows that.
One other person.
Yeah.
The other
pirate.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
So, any other contenders for best line? All right. Doesn't look like anybody else is contesting. So, Darius, that one's yours.
Take it. It's your one-liner.
And then the audience favorite got Lagon. So there you go.
I always try to at least get one good one-liner in there.
I love it. I love it. The Darius line.
Yeah.
The problem is we all like dad jokes and shit like that, so
everybody just breaks down.
You spring those on us, we're all just like, oh shit. Oh no.
I personally was laughing. Redmark was like, gives you red scaled dragonborn scowl. Yes. I think I like Redmark as a character. I hope you guys... I came up with him on a whim. But for him to be your patron in Kombe seems like a good bet. So
I'm interested in This is a lot of fun.
Yes, old Codger's going to be pretty disappointed when he figures out the trail leads back to Kaiji.
We don't know for sure that it does, but that's the rumor.
Mm-hmm.
And he also didn't say how he would react. He said he didn't like that. Like, he didn't know what he would do. He says, I hope it doesn't.
Which is why we're going to wait until we actually have a necromancer.
Right. But for now, all we have is speculation, and it does point back to Lord Kaiji. So
again, though, we're in the end going to have to look at like how is that benefiting him?
Keeps the masses fearful.
You might. Redmark did mention something. Kaiji wasn't always like this.
He could be being manipulated and controlled. We don't know.
More things to investigate.
Exactly.
But how do you get close to what amounts to a king in this city? And who is potentially going to be the king of the country?
His right-hand man, Redmark.
Well, I was close enough to touch him once.
Shit, you're right. Oh god. Redmark, we are gonna have to tell him something.
Yeah.
Kaiji is aiming to be king of the country.
And again, all we have is rumors and speculation.
Are we gonna have our court, like our little masquerade ball kind of scene? Is that coming up? Is that gonna be a thing?
Also, though, we
have to go shop.
We have to take into account, we toppled the city. That is a huge power vacuum. What is going to fill that? Who is going to fill that?
Yeah.
And I don't... obviously, it's going to affect more than just the city. If he's wanting to become, like, king of the country...
There are a couple of people in the race, but he is the most prominent racer that you guys know of because you're in his city. His capital city of his province, really.
Well, let's hope he has a fancy ball. Yeah. First we need a necromancer, then we need the fancy ball.
I mean, I'm kind of treating this particular little arc as a little taste of vampire, too, so... It's not mechanically vampire, but it's usually how I run my vampire games.
Perfect! Of course we need our masquerade.
Yes, exactly. A vampire.
Now you need the ball.
Now you need to go to court. But how do you turn lowly people who live in the slums into courtroom people? people who are going to court.
We're only staying there because it's cheap and, well, for the most part, we're not paying for much.
I'm glad you're enjoying, though.
Yes.
Because I'm enjoying this little arc.
If there's going to be some kind of masquerade, we need a ball to go with it.
I mean, showing up at court is kind of the whole thing.
Yeah. Excellent. Cool.
Who knows? This might be your in for the city.
If we topple this dude, does this mean we have to stay here until they figure shit out?
Not necessarily. Absolutely. This just means that you are probably going to have enough influence in the city to do something.
Okay.
You could potentially become, the sort of notable hero status that a lot of adventurers want, which means that they get certain benefits for having an established home base.
I was about to say, we'll be inspiring and well-known enough that we can actually buy property. We'll be legal citizens.
You might.
That is a possibility.
The question will ever hang in the air. If it means ruining a city for the greater good, would you do it?
Every time.
Yep.
Professor Cypher asked this about Rune once, and he's like, yeah. But it was in reference to knowledge. If the knowledge would destroy everything, isn't like, would you still try and get it? He's like, yeah.
It's knowledge.
I don't know what you expect from me.
I mean, to be fair, all of that kind of solidified a pact for you.
Whoops.
Should Rune want it, levels can be taken in Warlock.
I'm sorry. Professor Cypher is a... Maud, is that you?
He is no longer human.
Oh, no. He's like a trickster god, but... Oh, I was not expecting it.
If you ever need his help, all you have to do is ask.
I guess so.
He can't be directly involved, of course.
Yeah, but what am I giving up for it?
I mean, do metal men have souls?
This one does.
The way this metal man is made, he is the soul.
Yep.
The soul is what runs him.
Yep.
Don't know arigato, Mr. Robata.
But yes, that's a little bit of a peek behind the door. But I hope you all have enjoyed the show and have enjoyed the story so far. You know, we definitely do appreciate all of our cast members who are lovely people. And of course, you know, we definitely appreciate everyone here who has been watching. So, let's find somebody to raid. Who is online on Twitch, if there is anybody to raid?
$50 giveaway pool. Right.
Yeah, Maddie's doing unboxing at the shop right now.
Maddie's doing the unboxing stream from the shop. I think it only fair, since Maddie did come and say hi to us during the show, that we go and say hi to him back, as he might be starting up a giveaway pool here very shortly. So let's go ahead and raid Maddie at the Hero Zone and give him some love from all of us here at the Cat Cafe. We will be back, of course, next week for more of the same. Wednesday will be Austin by Starlight, and Thursday again will be more Rebirth, where we find out if the Lucky Sevens, what they're gonna do in the weeks to come, leading up to, like I said, the event in which they're probably going to capture some necromancers. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, say goodnight, everyone.
Good night.
Good
Night.
Stay out of trouble.
Never.
Such troublemakers, these Lucky Sevens. Wait, there's only 5.